now I have a privilege that our Jace has already joined. Sir, can you hear us? Sir? Madhuranjan sir, can you hear us?
मुझे आपकी आवाज सुनाई दे रही है?
Yes sir. So
आवाज सुनाई दे रही है?
Yes sir, आपका आवाज सुनाई दे रही है, लेकिन शायद आप वीडियो बंद करके रखे हैं. वीडियो आपका नहीं है.
वीडियो ऑफ है मेरा. Okay, is it? Am I visible now?
Not. Yes, now you are visible, sir. Now you are visible. So, dear participants, it is a privilege and honor for me to introduce our Joint Secretary MHRD. He is by degree is an engineer and he has done PhD, as I see from the different net search, but he never disclosed that. I don't know. But he is by degree is a engineer, but with profession he is a bureaucrat who is a solution provider. He doesn't keep the problem pending. He takes decision, and lot of professionalism we are learning from him. He is a man with lot of professional tools in his hand. So the people who are interacting with Shri Madhuranjan Kumarji ko, they know that he is a person talks straight, talks honest, and very straightforward. He likes those people who deliver straight and honest to him. So that is the great quality which sir has created in the MHRD system also. Otherwise, the general perceptions are the bureaucrats, they are not very straightforward people or something like that, but it is not like that. He has proven that we are wrong. When we think in that line, he has proven us we are wrong. The bureaucrats are ready for solutions, provided you come with a right kind of proposal, right kind of statement, right kind of honesty, there is a solution. And he is a man who respects that. So with this word now, we would like to hear from you, sir. This particular 5 days webinar is not simply a webinar which we want to just do for doing sake. We want to create a roadmap. We want to connect those small initiatives that can happen from the educational institute, so that we deliver at our laboratory level, our individual capacity level, and institute becomes Atmanirbhar gradually, and we see the dream feasible, what our Honorable Prime Minister has seen. So this is that small connect for which we have initiated, and we are seriously looking out to a great paper out of this, a roadmap out of this, which we would like to share to all the academic institute, higher learning institute, to give some Hindi mein bolte hain disha. So this is a DISA paper for which we are working for. So with this word, sir, I request you to address to our participants, and thank you so much for sparing your valuable time from your busy schedule. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thanks, Professor Patnaik. I hope I am audible to the audience here. Talking about AtmanirbharBharat, while as a slogan at the social level or maybe at a governmental level, it has its appeal. But when you actually come to the brass tacks of being Atmanirbhar, at least in the field of engineering, my impression is that if you look at the history of engineering progress, right from time 1920, when the so-called mass production of Ford cars started in US, till 2010-20, when quality management and failure analysis became prevalent. My feeling is that the manufacturing industry in India is, if you talk in terms of textbook, what was taught in textbook in 80s is actually the norm in the industry today. I repeat my statement. What was available in textbook 80s or maybe by 90s is available is what is practiced by industry today. To give you a very simple example, which has contextual importance in the sense of Atmanirbhar, is that the failure rate analysis, which is something which Japanese brought about in 60s, which is something which the Americans picked up from Japanese, and that is how they could beat the Japanese challenge with computer by the time EVs came. I have not seen in India, even in top-notch industries, you talk of Tata Motors, talk of Mukundaran, talk of L&T. I've worked in some of them, and I know some top people there who are my friends. I know my own parent cadre in all the railway and defense industries. We are at somewhere like, what the quality used to be delivered by C graph and P graph and average quality level equivalent, things like that. Fortunately or unfortunately, the IT wing of engineering has taken a leapfrog in the sense that the improvements in the field of computer science and electronics engineering made those conventional improvements in civil or mechanical or metallurgy, which is process or manufacturing, almost redundant, in the sense that if you want to sense a failure in an IC engine, you put a probe there and you will come to know whether the combustion is correct or not, which was not there earlier. Earlier, you have to actually understand how the flame is propagating inside the IC engine to know how whether the failure, why the failure is taking place. So, because of that, the inherent industrial capability of improvement took a discontinuous turn sometime around 1990 to 2000. And thereafter, the world has been taken over by a bunch of people, most of them engineers, who use IT embedded solutions to solve the problems of conventional branches of engineering, which is good, in the sense that it is very precise. But this has a cost, in the sense that if I'm using a finite element analysis to do the designing part in 2010, by the time 2020 comes, that model becomes obsolete, the software becomes obsolete, and I have to do something else. However, if my knowledge of finite element analysis is weak, in the sense I never knew how to do that analysis manually, and I was dependent on software, I become handicapped. I find that most of the private industry in India is facing this problem, that the capability of their technical workforce in order to zero on the fundamental principles of why an activity takes place, why there should be a tungsten carbide for drilling and not a high-speed drill, is something which a person who has done that will know. The IT solution for that will be, you find out the BHN value. If it is above this, you leave high-speed drill and go for tungsten carbide, without understanding what is the property which makes the shift. Because that is probe-oriented. The IT thing will give you a probe-oriented, without making you clear about the fundamentals. So because of this, most of the medium level industries are not in a position to keep upgrading their IT support system for improvement in their manufacturing process, which can make them competitive within India or outside India. And that is where China has scored over us. In fact, China has scored over most of the world, is that they built the manufacturing very intensively, and then the superimposed solutions which are circuit based on top of that. So for engineering institutions or for a lot of industrially inclined engineers who are participating in this seminar, is to sensitize the students or a budding entrepreneur that these stages of competitive advantage has to be understood by them before they can become self-reliant. Any MBA student will tell you that historically, once everybody used to compete on price, sasta maal hai le lijiye. Obviously, when everybody became affordability was not a factor, it became quality. Then it became delivery, how fast you can give me. Then it became flexibility. नहीं हमको इस गाड़ी में थोड़ा extra लगा दीजिए, can you give me extra light in the cabin where I can read while I'm driving. And finally, it became, when all of that got commoditized, the latest and perhaps the durable competitive different advantage is with respect to knowledge. And it is this knowledge building which is a tough job, which is a very time-taking job, and which is a very non-glamorous job. For a student to do the knowledge building, and for a teacher to provide this knowledge, or for an industrialist to tolerate with the cost that is associated with knowledge building of his office system or of his workers, requires a lot of patience, and it doesn't give you immediate return. It is that transition period which management of which is very difficult, while we talk about improving the competitive position of India so that it becomes Atmanirbhar. This is what China did. From 1970 to 2010 or 2000, it didn't bother about the rest of the world. It only one generation of Chinese were rested or utilized in ensuring the knowledge capability of them, both at the process level, as I was saying, that you want to know about how IC engineering is malfunctioning, he will be able to tell you from an engineering point of view why it was malfunctioning. While there is IT support, there is electronic support, which will also tell you from the probe that there is a malfunction. One generation has spent on that, and then only it has come to a level that it can now challenge China, it can challenge US, and it can also. So it's a long way ahead. I don't think that it's easy to do it in the next 5 years, but if it is done in a very systematic manner, and most of all, what is required is support from the policy level, from the government. Government should be willing to acknowledge that yes, it's a slow process. It's like raising a child. माँ कहती है जल्दी से बड़ा हो जाओ, लेकिन it takes a long time in बड़ा होना. Similarly, being Atmanirbhar, when the technology pace is very high, when computer science becomes obsolete in 5 years and mechanical engineering becomes obsolete in 10 years, one has to be very patient. So that was my musing on from a policy angle on how Atmanirbhar is to be handled. Professor Patnaik and Mr. Kumar, Mr. Raj, then Nidhi, Dr. Balwinder Singh. I hope you will be able to come out something good on this, and I look forward to a write-up from you after the whole thing is over. Thanks a lot. I will disconnect very soon because I have some other VCs. Earlier, I used to think that VC means the Vice Chancellor, but Corona has taught me that VC means video.
Sir, thank you so much. Being a bureaucrat, the way you are touching subject like manufacturing, IT, circuit, computational simulation, financial analysis, and most interestingly, software, hardware, and human interface together, and looking forward to a competitive, durable, competitive ecosystem in education system. And the best example like raising a child and creating that knowledge domain, and a generation should devote time for doing this. At the same time, also you are taking your responsibility as policy maker, being a bureaucrat. This is something interesting, amazing. Like, how come you are really managing time to see all those things? It shows that how good you were as a student during your student career. Even though I had the opportunity to meet one of your teachers who was praising very high about you, but now also you are in touch with engineering and happenings, how the things are happening. So people like you, when you are in helm of affair of MHRD, we are confident that the education system will get the right kind of support, and in long run, people like us, the institute like ours, will deliver to your expectation. Thank you so much for sharing your valuable time. Very precious time you have spared, sir, and lot of information in a very short time. We'll take note of those things and work out in this direction, and definitely there will be distinct roadmap paper for you. That is what is the objective of this webinar. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks a lot.